Diversity is what Democrats consider New York's greatest asset. But the city is not without its racial and political tensions. Tensions that prompt to consider politics as the language of the powerful. But one man saw it as a tool for the people. An organizer turned lawmaker challenges the systems that are out of question. Housing, healthcare, policing, and the very definition of justice. But his fight is not without resistance. In a world where politics is often performative, he insists on truth, action, and accountability. His story is more than politics. It's about the reimagining of power, the possibility of change, and the courage it takes to stand against the tide. This is the story of a movement embodied in one man, Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani was born on July 18, 1991, in Kampala, Uganda, to a family deeply rooted in intellectual and political thought. His father, Mahmoud Mamdani, is a renowned scholar and political theorist. His mother, Mirania, is an acclaimed filmmaker known worldwide for her powerful storytelling. From an early age, Zohran's upbringing was a fusion of cultures, ideas, and activism. His family moved to New York City when he was still a child, settling in Manhattan. It was here that he began to absorb the vibrant diversity and stark inequalities that define urban America. He attended Bowdoin College in Maine, where his passion for political and social issues grew. After graduating, Zohran returned to New York, where he immersed himself in grassroots community work. He worked as a foreclosure prevention counselor, helping families keep their homes during times of economic uncertainty. It was this ground-level activism that grounded his political vision, a vision rooted in justice, equity, and solidarity. Zohran Mamdani began his political career in New York City as a volunteer in 2015 and quickly became active in progressive campaigns, working with the Democratic Socialist of America. He served in key roles for several candidates, including Ross Bacon and Tiffany Coburn. In 2020, Zohran ran for the New York State Assembly, representing District 36 in Queens. He won. As a democratic socialist, he aligned with the growing progressive movement, sweeping the U.S. political landscape. In Albany, he championed legislation for housing justice, healthcare for all, and police accountability. October 2024, Mamdani launched his campaign for New York City mayor with a platform centered on progressive policies, free city buses, rent freezes, city-run grocery stores, universal child care, affordable housing construction, public safety reform, and a $30 minimum wage by 2030, which would be funded by higher taxes on corporations and millionaires. His manifesto was simply built on affordability. As global politics grew more polarized, Zohran's voice emerged as one of moral clarity. He became a fierce advocate for Palestinian rights, speaking out against occupation, apartheid policies, and U.S. complicity in the conflict. Mamdani's strong support of Palestinians and staunch criticism of Israel goes further than most of the Democratic establishment. The Assemblyman introduced a bill to end the tax-exempt status of New York charities with ties to Israeli settlements that violate international human rights law. He also affirms that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, is an apartheid state, and that the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, should be arrested. He vows to uphold the ICC-issued arrest warrant against Netanyahu. Despite trailing in polls against Andrew Cuomo for much of the race, Mamdani surged ahead just before the June 2025 primary. His campaign wasn't backed by billionaires or corporate PACs. It was powered by volunteers, neighborhood assemblies, and thousands of everyday New Yorkers. The movement grew. He ultimately won the Democratic nomination in a major upset, backed by a large grassroots donor base. A self-identified Muslim socialist had just become the Democratic Party candidate for the New York mayoral election. Pollsters were skeptical. Media pundits called him too radical. Trump threatened to cut the city's funding if Mamdani wins. Mamdani was running against Republican Curtis Sliwa and Andrew Cuomo, who was running as an independent candidate following his primary loss. A series of campaigns ensued across the city. The election day came. November 4th, the votes were cast. With 50.4% of the vote, Zohran Mamdani was elected as the first democratic Muslim socialist mayor of New York City and one of the youngest in its history. For many New Yorkers, Zohran Mamdani's win isn't just victory of one man. It is victory of a city reclaiming glory, a city reclaiming its soul,